welcome back to Beyond the Sandbox. I'm your host, Matt. Again, we're back with KSP, and this is the second episode, and we're on to the flight portion. For those of you who have not gone ahead and watched the construction video, we have a new rocket here, not the Mat 1, or the, as I called it last time, the Freudian ship, but now it is the Kerbal 1, or the Mooner 1. Getting confused with my own names here. So this ship is basically built with the intent to do a flyby of the moon and collect science on the way. I don't know if it's going to make it. Particularly, I have concerns about the power issues that ships before batteries tend to have. So we'll see if we're actually going to make it there or not, but I'm hoping that with some clever use of the engines along the way, that without damaging the orbit or transfer windows too much, I can go ahead and make it there. But enough talk. This is a flight video after all, so it's time to get into the air. So, and here we go. So I was kind of concerned about having the boosters on the side there, and it looks like we've actually, I can't tell, it doesn't look like we're leaning at all, but I was worried about their stability since they're not linked. I don't actually have the connectors just yet. So, but it looks like it's not going to be an issue though, at least not in the lower atmosphere. I definitely am tilted over to the side. I'm going to try to correct here but a little bit, but those fins are going to make it, usually those are more of a problem than they're worth. It looks like they're starting to be this time around as well. Yeah, we definitely got some rotation going on. We might have to hit the abort button here, because I don't think I'm going to be able to save this. Unless, well, maybe. Let's see if we can do this here. Swing back, around. Come on, don't. Alright, try to get this thing tilted back up towards 90 degrees here. Out, going and spinning. That's the one thing. Of course, I haven't had a whole. I'm already past my 10,000 meter mark. And I have. Oh, well, yep. This might not be so good, but let's see if we can save this. I don't got a lot of fuel left in these boosters here, but it looks like I think I'm going to redo this with the fins taken off here. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and abort the launch. Revert to the assembly building. And let's just go ahead and do a quick modification here. We're going to pull off those fins. Hopefully that'll give us a little more stability. I know they're designed to go ahead and make us a little more stable, but I think that given the fact we don't have a whole lot of reaction wheel control, don't have a lot of torque, that I think that we're going to need those to be off. I've had some problems with those in the past. So, anyway, no more preamble talking. Take two. And we'll see if we can get that spin and tilt under control there. The real trick is just to make it to about 10,000 meters and we can start to pitch over for a gravity turn, and hopefully by then we'll start to get out of the thicker part of the atmosphere and the aerodynamic drag won't, and aerodynamics and the drag won't matter as much. That's the hope anyway, but we'll find out. We're coming up here on our target speed pretty soon, so I'm going to start to throttle here, cut back on fuel, something I didn't get a chance to do last time. So the mission probably wouldn't have gone as well anyway. Looks like we're actually doing pretty well on our trajectory here. The fins being removed looks like that's going to give us a little more stability. I'm just going to cut back on the engines here and just try to hover as close as I can around 150, 140 meters per second up until we get to about 10,000 meters, in which case I'm going to pour on the steam and tilt over, yada yada. Gravity turns, orbits, all that fun stuff. Until then, we're just kind of trying to sip fuel here as much as we can. Alright, but we're getting close to our 10,000 meter mark. Probably start the gravity turn a little early, it's not going to matter too much. So I'm going to pitch over, bring up the throttle, which is of course going to cause the ship to do some really weird oscillations here as it adjusts to the changing forces on the vessel. Alright, trying to not tilt over too much. I think toggle the SAS there a little bit. I think we're going to be just fine. So as you can see, I've got a flight engineer over here in the corner. For those of you who didn't watch the construction video, I've added in another couple. Of course, this is why I shouldn't actually be talking in a video, because every time I do and look away at something else, it turns out the ship just wants to go wherever. Oh, okay, boosters are off. Let's separate and fire the main engine. So this is our getting into orbit phase. We're at 28,000 with apoaps at 50. I think this is going to be sufficient to get us into orbit, or at least I can hope. So we're kind of pitched over a little farther than I'd like, so we're just going to try to stick directly under this 45-degree angle here. I know it's not the most efficient thing. Let's see, what's our time? The apoaps is a minute 30, so we're about where we should be. I'm going to try pulling up just a little bit so we can get that time. That's the other direction. I can never quite remember which way I'm supposed to go here. But we're coming up on 100,000. Alright, so we've currently got a suborbital trajectory. Just going to go ahead, do our second burn here to put us into orbit. I'm not quite on the plane I'd hoped, but go ahead and correct that when we go ahead and try to get out to the moon. So we got, let's see, the orbit doesn't have to be perfect at this point. I'm not really looking to get it to be exact here, even though I apparently am trying to do that, but I tend to be a little bit perfectionist. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go and slow the spacecraft around to this point. Looks like I got to burn about 1,200 meters per second. I think I've got that left in the current stage here. So we're going to find out. We have to burn a little bit of our transfer stage. That's okay too, but hoping we can do this with a little bit of extra fuel to spare. I'd rather have more fuel in the budget for the transfer than have to bank on being able to make the transfer and return with just that one stage minus whatever we use. So here's the hoping. But let's see, we got about a minute estimated burn, about a minute to go there. So I'm going to wait till we get down about 30 seconds before I go ahead and start this off. Because of course these calculations are done assuming that all of your delta V is applied at once, which would be frankly impossible, and if it wasn't, it would kill the occupants on board. Neither of which we really want to have happen. We're going to put this over here for the moment because I want to be able to look at my electric charge. This is the big thing I'm worried about, is that whether or not this charge here is going to actually be depleted before we can make it. So anyway, right here we're going to throttle up, and we're going to see how long our fuel lasts. Which will run out first, our meter or the fuel? So far, looks like we're doing good. Let's check what our orbit looks like here. Alright. So, it looks like good fuel left. I got about, let's just check this stage. Yep, we're going to run out long before we get there. It's kind of what I was hoping would not happen, but anyway, we got to go ahead and do this really quick. So let's burn, and we're probably not going to make it to the moon today. With that much of a delta V being spent on that, I don't know how we're going to be able to transfer. So we're just going to go ahead and do our insertion, and then see where we end up. And throttle down. Okay, that was a real sloppy insertion for those of you veteran Kerbal players out there probably noticed. That was not the most clean insertion burn ever, but take it. Anyway, let's go ahead and plot a trajectory to the moon, just for fun. So we're going to go ahead and get out here a little bit. Let's see what kind of delta V we're working with. Hopefully, I want to get one that gets us close. That's good here. I think we're going to be fine with that. 600 meters per second. Yeah, we're still going to be able to attempt this. We got about 30 minutes to the insertion burn here. It looks like that's going to be really. Hopefully, we don't have to do too much burn to get avoid hitting the planet. We're going to find out. So it looks like we got to do an orbit here. I am going to take the opportunity, because I am all about trying to do as much science as we can as we go along. I am going to have Jebediah out here, take the AVA with that. Okay, we're not going to do that, because apparently they don't want to hear what Jebediah has to say about the view from outside. So, crew report, 5 science, let's accept that. Now we're going to use one of our new shiny toys here on the side. Our goo containers, mystery goo appears to have clumped into a sphere. How interesting. 10 science, whoop-de-doo. Alright, we're just going to hold on to that. I'd rather try to return all this if I can. So, now we've got, let's see, let's go ahead and point ourselves to our node, and then do some time acceleration. And likely this part's going to be time accelerated a little more in the post-editing phase, so you don't have to sit here for, a couple of minutes watching some very boring footage, hopefully. So, we're at 50 because I was kind of stupid and only put us at about, 100 and so kilometers up. It looks like the app was 162, not sure how that happened. Probably wasn't paying attention too much, but coming up here, a 19-second burn. That's actually nice. I think we're going to be doing pretty well with this. I think even if we have to go ahead and use a little bit more of our fuel than I'd like on trying to avoid hitting the moon, I think we're going to be fine. So, ooh, hello. That caught up with me real quick. So we're going to go ahead and do our burn here. I need to keep a close eye on this so that we don't accidentally bypass where we want to be. This is not going to plan anyway, but that's what this is all about, is rolling with it and seeing what happens. So anyway, we're getting out there, slowing down. Let's go ahead and just kind of bump this up. Alright, it's not the orbit I was looking for, but I think with fuel we've got left, we should be able to get ourselves a return trajectory here. So, and I'm not going to go and spend all this time trying to play with it. We're just going to go ahead and delete our maneuver node, and we're going to get out there. So we're looking at our electric charge. We got 50 with usage of 0. That's what I like to see. Not sure why it's at 0. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be some kind of maintenance cost for running the capsule. But I'm not going to complain. I like getting to the moon without dying a cold, freezing death. So I'm definitely going to take that. It's kind of cool. It's a little spirally trajectory here. Alright, now we're coming up on the transfer window. So we're going to be just passing the moon's sphere of influence in a minute. And we should see there's our new trajectory. Okay, we're not going to hit the surface. In fact, we're just going to do a flyby. So what I'm going to do is set this up so that we can kind of tweak. You see how I'm tweaking my orbit out here by just adjusting this. The idea is to get ourselves into a return trajectory with Kerbin. So we can just go ahead, get ourselves close enough, and get a little bit more of that. So about 42, I would like to get down to about 28,000. Too far there. There, look at that, exactly where I want to be. 28,072 meters. Tell me that's not brilliant. Okay, so what this is going to do is we're going to do our flyby, collect our science, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to go get into an orbit, back into our orbit with Kerbin. And when we do that, we're going to hit about, if I do this right, we're going to hit at 28,000 meters, or 28,000 meters for our lowest point. Which puts us well inside the atmosphere, and we should, through aerobraking, get a capture, and can go ahead and return. So it looks like we're going to be able to do this for about, to the tune of about 72 meters per second. That's just beautiful. We got, what, an hour and 13 minutes? Alright. You know what I think I'm going to do? Is I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how the Scribble alarm clock can be used for a little bit more than just the transfer windows and stuff like that. Is let's say I need to go ahead and set a maneuver node. So I've got, I've set my ship here. I want to pause, or I want to kill the warp with about 5 minutes in spare. We'll say 5 minutes is good. And we go ahead and hit add alarm. You'll see that I've got 1 hour, 3 minutes counting down, which is exactly the amount of time that I've got on the clock here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do some time warping, and I don't have to worry. Why is that not working? Oh. Right, because it helps if I hit the right keys to do my time warping. You see, I'm just going to hit the maximum time, or really high time warp here. I'm not worried at all, because the alarm clock's going to catch it, you see? And it says, there we go. Time to pay attention to Lunar 1. We're nearing our maneuver node. So I'm going to delete this on close. We're just going to delete that. So we got about 5 minutes to go before we got to get into position. So let's go ahead and face our maneuver node. Things are just lining up here for us. It's right there, all set to go. That is going to be beautiful. So let's go ahead and take a look outside the window here. You got the moon, nice, big, round out there. So let's go ahead and do our science. A little bit before here, we got to go ahead and do our maneuver. So let's go ahead and take... I only got one crew report. I thought there was already a multiple crew reports, but I guess not. So we're going to pop out, do an EVA. We get 24 science for that. It's large chunk of what we got from last time, so hopefully we'll be able to buy a little bit more. And then we're going to spend our second of these food containers here. Yep, that 30 science right there. Now I think if I'm going to do the crew report, I'm going to override it. And we get 15 science instead of the 5 we got before. So that's going to be pretty helpful. And I wish I could land, but that'll have to be in a future mission, as this did not come equipped to that in any way. So we're going to go ahead, do some time acceleration here. This time we're going to pay very close attention. In fact, you know what? I'm going to let alarm clock here. We're going to give it a good 20-second lead time. Add the alarm. Do some time warping here just to get forward. And there we are. Close the alarm. We got about 15 seconds left. We're just going to go ahead and let this time run out. Got approximately 1 second. It's going to be almost negligible burn here. So it should be pretty accurate, hopefully. Coming up on it. We got like 5 seconds left. And here we go. Again, I'm having trouble hitting keys. Let's go ahead and see where that put us. I'm going to have to do some manual here. Not doing very well with burns today. Not doing well at all. So what we're going to do... I wish I could see that. Apparently I can't. So we're going to add another maneuver node here. Kind of give us our... There we go. Okay, so we don't have a... That's what that means. Okay. I know what I'm doing. So we're going to go ahead and flip this around. It's our electricity. So, okay, so we're using electricity now. We're going to go ahead and flip around. I'm just going to go ahead and do very, very small amount of burn here until we get a periapse. Should be any moment. There we go. We got 8,000. There we go. Roughly 30,000. That's fantastic. That's beautiful. Right there. So we're gonna go ahead, get all the way back. Let's go ahead. Can we add? Well, I can add one on that. Let's do. We're about 3 minutes out. I love this purple alarm clock. It's beautiful. Let's set it to my periapsis. Alright, because I'm not in the sphere of influence. The way this game is set up is it will not let you do calculations on a sphere of influence that you were not a part of. Okay, now we're officially there. I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to go ahead and do our time acceleration normally here, slowing down so we don't pass through the planet. That'd be very bad. And we're coming in for a landing here. This is pretty cut and dried at this point. I don't have deadly re-entry installed. There. I don't have deadly re-entry installed, so technically speaking, it doesn't actually matter how I do this. But for realism's sake, we're going to go ahead. We're going to manually do our decoupling here. I don't need any more fuel. I got everything I need. At this point, I figured I should take a moment to point out to those of you who caught it that I did, in fact, just dump both of the mystery fuel capsules into the ocean without a second thought, and lost all of the science associated with them. So, as a note to those of you who are just getting into the game, and obviously for those of us who have logged some time into it, always check your staging and know which parts are attached to what, and be mindful of the fact that if there's science still in your experiments, it's probably not the best idea to turn them into meteorites. So, I figured that was kind of important. Anyway, let's get back to Wolfme. We're going to go ahead and point the ship down where the heat shield would be if we had one, but since we don't have deadly re-entry and there really is no heating up mechanic, having a heat shield doesn't really make any sense in the base game. Maybe at some point I'll go ahead and add that for you guys. Whoa! That was entertaining. Time warping can be fun, especially when we get into physical time. So let's go ahead and set that, and can I just set that? Yep, okay, now it'll let me time accelerate. We're going through, we're at 45,000, and this part is always the one that takes a little while. And that's awesome. We've got some re-entry heating going on there. Apparently it does not like me moving while time accelerating in the atmosphere. Who'd think that, right? Aerodynamics plus time acceleration makes for quirky math. Who would have thought that? So anyway, we're going through. Let's just do our time acceleration here, because this obviously, while you love hearing the sound of my voice, is not super exciting. But you can see all the wonderful re-entry effects there, even though we're not actually getting any re-entry heating. And we're in the atmosphere now. I'm going to pop the chute, since we're really not going to be going anywhere other than the ocean at this point. Although I might have been able to aim for that peninsula, but I'm not quite that good at that. Actually, we might even still make it. Yeah, we might. That'd be kind of cool. We can land on land for once. I can get some surface sample from a different biome. Kind of nice. Nope, we're going to be short. We're going to go into this little bay here. Although that's kind of nice. We can find a little yacht to set up on and have some fruity drinks with the palm trees in the background and little umbrellas in them. Okay, I'm going to slow down here so we don't pop our chute off. There we go. Slow way down. And we're just going to go ahead, come in for a gentle landing here. So, unfortunately, it doesn't let you do anything but physical time acceleration here, because this last couple hundred meters takes forever when you're playing. I'm sure it takes even longer when you're watching. So we're coming in, almost splash down, and touchdown. Back on Kerbin from our mission around the moon. Completely successful, despite my incompetence. And let's get me out of here. Let's do the trick we did before. We're going to go ahead and freeze ourselves so we can get back on. Because if only reaction wheels were this powerful, for real. So we can go out and go ahead, EA report, which gives us a whole grand total of 3 signs. Oh, 12 signs for that, not bad there. It looks like Jebediah, after his little talk we had about getting out of the spacecraft and not necessarily going for a swim every time we do, he has been very obedient, didn't fall out or go for a swim on his own. He's just kind of done his science and did his thing. So unfortunately, we still haven't been able to plant the flag, but maybe in a future mission I can get us onto some land so we can actually plant the first flag of the game here. So we're going to get him back inside so he stores all that wonderful science, and I'm sure he's ready for some snacks back at Kerbal HQ, so we're going to go ahead and recover the vessel. And let's see our grand total for the mission. Is 66 signs for a total of 77. I call that a pretty nice day. So let's wrap this video up here by going ahead and doing our selection. Once again, I'm really bad at choices here, so let's see. I do want the small engine. I really want that. That's going to be nice for the upper stages. The Separatrons are nice, but you know what I really, really want out of this? Struts. Struts are beautiful. I like those. Oh, so many choices. Well, I know I don't need the struts to get anywhere, so I think we're going to go ahead and settle for not getting those this time around. I also have procedural fairings. Would be kind of nice to get. Those would be cool, but they're not super important. The big thing I want is batteries and this other bit of science here, so we can go ahead and get more tech for the next time around. I think that's what we're going to pick. So that's 17 science. Can I spend that? No. So I think we're done here. Alright, once again, this has been Matt with Beyond the Sandbox. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe and leave me a comment with anything that you thought was a nice point or anything you'd like to see, or your constructive criticism too. I'm always looking to hear what you guys have to think, what you have to say. This is a brand new channel, so your thoughts could definitely be incorporated, if I happen to agree. So, anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.